Talk about what you want to be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. We are back and better than ever. My name is Bradley Ball, and it is so good to have you with us. On Tuesday's show, we had Taryn Pratt, Senior Program Manager from the Azure VM Product Group. We talked about learning goals for the new year. Taryn asked for our and you, dear viewer, your feedback on deploying multi-subnet availability groups via the Azure portal. We talked about the implications of being able to do cross regions, multi-subnets, no more load balancer, a lot of really wonderful detail that we covered on there. Who played? Who won? Who's the host? Who knows? We know, but if you want to know and you haven't seen those episodes, you should definitely head over to our YouTube channel. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, but also watch those previous episodes. If you'd like to interact with the show, it is easier than ever. We are streaming in so many locations. We are on Sequel Balls over on Twitter, Neeraj Jafari, Josh Ludeman on Twitter, Tales from the Field on Twitter, Sequel Balls over on LinkedIn, and Tales from the Field on our home site on YouTube. So if you comment on any of those streams, one of my wonderful co-hosts will see that stream and they will pick it up and they may add it to the show. Speaking of these amazing co-hosts of mine, before we go any further, let me introduce them. I am joined by Andreas Padilla, Josh Ludeman, and he's better than that perfect cup of coffee on a cold winter's morning. The one, the only, your friend and mine, Neeraj Jafari. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you today?
Doing great.
Andreas, how you feeling about the week, buddy? We knew from last week going into it, you were the host. How do you feel the show was?
I love the show. Thank you for bringing in Taryn Pratt. Man, dude, I love that cut load balancer out. That was my favorite part.
I was going to say, how fantastic. Hey, Corey, they said hey to you, Josh.
I got friends everywhere. I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he is. I love the Minnie Mouse hat. We haven't seen the Minnie Mouse hat for a while. It's a Disneyland original.
Oh, absolutely. It's so comfortable. It hugs the scalp so perfectly.
Oh, it does. It does. So I guess we should give a reminder, right? The 31st of this month, the last Tuesday of the month, instead of doing a show that's going to be competition and technology based on Tuesday, we'll have to figure out, maybe we'll rock, paper, scissors, spot, something for the host. But instead, we're doing an Elster, we're doing our holiday show just a little bit late. Corey, we're all here for the hats, Corey. Absolutely.
It's all about the hats.
Christmas in July. Nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely. And as you know, when we first rolled this out, I believe it was last week, don't forget, there will be wardrobe changes.
Oh, you know what? I just remembered. Not only will there be wardrobe changes, I need to go buy a gift for the person that was selected on Elfter. Oh, yeah.
So do I.
I'm glad
if any of you guys are my elf or whatever, my Santa, I haven't put my wish list in, but I'm going to put it in tomorrow.
You know what I'm hearing?
I wanted some time to think.
Whoever has Andreas needs to hurry up before he puts stuff in.
Yeah.
Rainbow Speedo, unicorn like headband, and he'll have to wear it for the show.
I will. Anything you guys send me, I will wear it on the show.
Dan has no wish list. He's living dangerously.
Yes.
Josh is big in both Orlando and France.
Yes. Now, are we talking the real France or are we talking Epcot, France?
I thought we were talking Paris, Texas. But
could be. Could be. Paris Island? No.
The world may never know.
No.
I am really looking forward to that. So on that show on the 31st, Dan Taylor will be joining us. Lonnie Bauer will be joining us. Andrew Nathan will be joining us. We have not one, not two, but three amazing guests where we will be going around the room and having a little bit of holiday fun. I am so excited for this. I guess we should probably just, contain our excitement a little bit. Maybe we go over to the links and we just get straight to the roundtable.
Okay.
I like the breathing exercise, Josh. It's good.
I was getting excited. Sorry.
I am too.
Wardrobe changes and and wardrobe changes. Not even wardrobe changes. I get a little. I gotta.
Well, and it's the hat may change and the outfit. All of us, we've kind of talked about what it's going to be.
I've very specifically chosen the words wardrobe change.
Oh, I got to say, I've just got one set of clothes I'm wearing that day. Josh is trying to outdo all of us.
Yeah. Trying to win hosting duties again.
I don't know if you can. Okay. Yeah. Dan's right. On to the round table. Okay, here we go. So first up, I've got Neeraj. Neeraj, you've got 12 learning goals for personal growth and development by Leon Ho.
Yep. So just sticking to the same theme of the week, learning growth is what we are looking for, and we discussed it on Tuesday. This is a good article that I came across. Leon is giving a few examples and also a few things how you can grow yourself by just doing some of the basic things. Develop communication skills is one of them. Negotiation skills definitely needed for 2023 with all this market going up and down. Ethics and social responsibility, that's going to be a big this year. Teamwork and flexibility, definitely. I mean, you guys heard the news. Microsoft now is going to have for the US employees is going to be no vacation thing, so that's going to be a big thing this year for us.
That is massive news, right? Like our stock went up massively the other day, but also I saw news articles. We trended worldwide with unlimited vacation for like several hours throughout the day. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a good thing, right? I mean, it's going to be helpful for us, right? Reasoning and making good judgment is one of them. Critical thinking and problem solving, that's definitely a good thing to learn as you go. Analytical thinking, that's one of the things that I definitely like. The analytical and creative thinking is what I definitely liked of it. And stay organized. So something that he has put it up to a good article for you to read for your 2023.
Well, this is a great article, and I'm going to go back to this one and repeat Karamo Brown's advice, right? Every day, look in that mirror, say something nice about yourself. Yes. It starts at home, and you got to build up that personal confidence so that way you can go out in the world and you can lead effectively. It helps a lot. There's so many good things on this list, though. I absolutely love it, Neeraj. This was a wonderful, wonderful pick. Speaking of wonderful picks, I'm up next, and SQL derived table example. So I love derived tables. And one of the reasons why is that a derived table in SQL Server is just simply, if I write a query, I put parentheses around it, and then I give it a name and I say select star from. That is a derived table. A derived table is different than a view. A view, I create as view, and then I reference that view as a table. But in the optimizer, you go through something called view expansion. And sometimes people make mistakes. They have nested views, referencing views, referencing views, referencing views. And I will hear from people all the time, hey, how do I get rid of all these nested views? Derived tables. Derived tables is how you do it, because the problem with a nested view, after so many levels, you cannot see the statistics for the SQL Server optimizer, and you may get a bad cardinality estimate. It may believe there's like 10 rows in a table. There's actually 1 million rows in a table, and then we're stuck processing for a really long time. The derived table example, though, you can see the statistics for those tables every single time. This is by Rick Dobson, and it's a bit old as an article. It's back in 2019, but I was actually looking up something having to do with derived tables for a customer, and I grabbed this for our community roundtable because I thought, oh, what a great example. It shows how we create the basic derived table, but then it also shows how we can create multiple different derived tables and even do joins, or even how complicated those derived tables can possibly be. And when you might just think SQL Server, right? Not so fast. This also works in Azure Synapse Analytics dedicated pools. So if I were doing a migration from Teradata to an Azure Synapse dedicated pool, and I needed to rewrite nested views, looking at nested views, one of the ways I could do that, particularly if I have some very, difficult T-SQL that I need to write, that I need to have in a view format, I could make that a derived table. And that's how I can get that through that, so the optimizer could always see our statistics. So derived tables, fun little technical thing on the SQL Server side of the house. But next up, I mean, talk about, we haven't even hit the best thing yet. Critical thinking has passed by many folks these days. Dan, you're not wrong. It's a skill, and you got to nourish it. And speaking of nourishing, I love how the beard is coming along, Andreas. And you are up, my friend, with Cosmos DB patterns for performance and efficiency.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Marco, if you're out there, great post. This is by our friend Marco Aurelio Cardoso. He's off in Brazil. Thank you for putting this together. A much needed resource when it comes to performance for Cosmos DB. And there's plenty of tips and tricks out there for, optimizing and reducing those request units. The name of the game with Cosmos DB is get RU down. Well, what can you do? Geography matters. Indexing policies matters. You can squeeze a little bit more performance if you have the right indexing policies in there. You can set up queries using where and cross-partition queries that actually can give you better performance. And then, shame, 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 I know your name. Hot partitions, don't do it. Marco talks to us about how to make sure that you don't fall into a hard partition scenario. Marco,
sorry, I'm so used to when someone says shame, 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 I know your name. I thought they were talking to me, or thought you were talking to me. I'm going, what did I do this time? Sorry.
Look, good, Josh.
I apologize.
He said what he said, Josh.
I was like, yeah, I know you know my name. What is the deal? What is the problem? I don't know. I didn't do that.
No, this is so fantastic, Andreas. I mean, look at the level of detail that we have in this. So many different things. And you know what I love? Nowhere in there, because typically, and people will make fun of it. They'll go, how do you make Cosmos faster? You just, throw more RUs at it. Nowhere in there is there, throw more RUs at it. It's how do we do this more efficiently so that way we can find the best way to then be able to efficiently use those RUs.
Beautiful. Yes, he goes into partition keys, query optimization, indexing policies, consistency levels, everything that you really want. Other strategies besides throwing more compute into the mix, that's the last thing you want to do. I don't want to spend money. Strategize, right. Use these little Swiss Army knives in your back pocket to reduce the RUs. Save yourself a buck.
And hey, let's get the man some likes on there. I just gave him one here, but he deserves more. This is a really, really great article. I really appreciate that. Way to go, Marco. This is some just absolutely fantastic stuff. Speaking of absolutely fantastic, next up, I have the one, the only Mr. Josh Ludeman with what's new in Visual Studio extensions for SAS and SSRS.
Yeah, so I know normally what we want to do here is feature the community and not a product group, but this is a product group article, and here's why. I started my career in business intelligence as a developer and an architect. What was the main complaint every time a new version of SQL Server came out? Since 2012, where's our SSRS, SSAS, or SSIS features? Well, right here we go. Support for SQL Server 2022 is now in the AS and RS extension. This article goes through some great stuff, including enabling 64-bit connections in the connection manager for analysis services, some stability enhancements to the RS extension. So, hey, BI developers need love too, and this was an article just about that. So I had to throw this out there. Again, sorry, it's a product group article from the tools and BI stuff team, the BI feature team, but I got to do it because we need love.
Well, and I love it. The road ahead, they're asking for feedback, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're asking for feedback, which if you've noticed, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but the last 2 weeks on this show, we've had the tools team saying, send us your feedback, and Aaron Stellato, and we even said, send it into the Twitter account, YouTube comments, things like that. We had just this Tuesday, we had Taryn from the Azure SQL VM team saying, what? Bring me your feedback. Yeah. And now we've got this article here. I don't know, fool me once, fool me twice. I don't know. Third time seems like it's a trend here. I'm pretty sure the Azure SQL team is looking for more feedback. but I don't know. I'm not a professional, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn once.
Did you say they want feedback?
Yes. Give me feedback.
The next time that they ask for feedback, I want you to do a big old Hulk Hogan ear.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, so that was this. Again, apologies for not being community, but this was I felt like a service to the community, because there's always been that complaining, I think, since 2012.
Well,
where's our BI features?
That's one of the things that, is really our primary mission. We know these folks. We work with these folks every single day. And people in the community don't realize how easy it is to be able to reach out and have your feedback heard. Microsoft cares. We're listening. Our product groups want to hear your feedback to understand how we can make these processes and how we can make your world better. And that's really something that's important. We're trying to make sure that we highlight these folks, so when they need feedback, we can bring them to you, and you can understand, hey, here's who I go to. And I mean, this is a source. There's nobody higher up in the food chain. If you open up a ticket and you get escalated to the PG, congratulations. That's the people that we've been bringing on the show for you to talk to. You're talking to them right there. So absolutely, feedback is important.
Either those people that we've had on the show, or the developers who've literally turned the business requirements from those people into actual code running the product.
Yep.
One of the two.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got Neeraj, and I think that's a very interesting title. A case for a database monitoring tool, your organization's most valuable asset.
So the reason I brought this up was this week I had on a call with a customer where database monitoring was a big topic for them, just because they were not monitoring. I mean, they had performance issues in SQL, and they were like, "Oh, what do I do?" And they were not ready to accept it up. So I gave them this article to just read about it, why database monitoring is really good to be there, right? I mean, query response time is something that every company would require to do it. I mean, people write bad queries, it just goes forever. What's going on? Transaction out throughput is one of the things. Resource utilization. I mean, if you use up all the CPUs, the next person who is going to write a query is going to be having an issue on it. So something that definitely the author Pinal has wrote it down really good, and showcase the benefits and the advantages of having our database monitoring in there. I mean, after spending a whole hour with the customer, they were like happy on it. They were like going to start putting the database monitoring in the tool, and that's something that helped them out. So.
Well, in monitoring is something that's absolutely critical. And one of the things that I would really try and make anybody who is using a SQL product realize is, since 2016, we have had the query data store. And the query data store in an asynchronous method captures a lot of the data that you would need. It's your flight recorder inside of your database in case something goes wrong. And so that should be enabled on-prem. You definitely want to enable it. In Azure, we enable it by default because we know how important it is. As a matter of fact, to get rid of that data, you have to go turn it off because Microsoft has said this is critical information that you should absolutely have.
Yep.
All right. So up next, it's me. I've got Oliver Van Steelt. Once again, we've had him on the show before, and he's got a lot of great stuff. Again, part of my New Year's learning is going to be diving more into DevOps, database projects, and Azure DevOps, working with pull request. What I love is this is a very, very detailed article by Oliver to be able to just say, what is a pull request? How do you create one? How do you review it? Because I will do this sometimes. I will create a pull request and then I'll approve my pull request, but I'll often stop when I'm giving presentations and go, keep in mind, you should have a process by which other people are checking and validating your pull request before these things are committed to your main branch. How to approve, but also how to reject and disapprove, because it is important to realize back a long time ago when I was a developer working for the U.S. Army, we had a very robust pull request system. When we migrated things, it was their weekly job and it rotated like on call. You were there to review everything that was going into the repository that was going to get pushed out to the next environment the next time there was a build release. And it's incredibly important to understand how to approve, but also how to reject. I wasn't perfect. I got stuff rejected, but I also got things through on the first try. Part of it is a learn endeavor, but you need to understand that it's part of your code process to make sure that we have everything in there correctly. Great visualizations of how to be able to do this in Azure DevOps. Really, really easy to understand. Again, great resource. So next up, let's see. I have Andreas working with the Unity catalog and Azure Databricks.
Okay, great. Thank you to Sam Panda. Sam, I think you're out in India. Shout out to you. Thank you for this post. It for all of you out there who are using Azure Databricks, you might want to centralize the administration and the security into one central area. That's where Unity Catalog comes into it. Not only will it let you administer users, manage access policies, it'll allow you to share the metadata in one central spot so that workspaces that have their tables in those workspaces can talk to that central metadata store that has all the tables. So now multiple workspaces can talk to that central area. Sam, what he does here is he shows you how to set up Unity Catalog for Azure Databricks. It's not a clear-cut process. Takes a little bit of reading, takes a little finagling. He makes it happen and makes you understand how to set it up properly. Thank you, Sam, for putting this together.
Absolutely. And I love the detail in this. I was so focused on the content. I want to make sure people realized how much was fundamentally covered on this. But I do want to take a chance to scroll through here because it's a beautiful very, very detailed. And we absolutely love that. Great work, Sam. Good call out, Andreas. Absolutely love that. So next up, I have Josh.
Yeah, and of course, this is what we call in the business a perfect transition. Because thank you for bringing this great article, Andres, about using the Unity catalog with Databricks. So here's an article, and instead of we'll say totally destroying the name and mispronouncing it and offending anybody, I'm going to use his Twitter handle, Kiddo Jazz. So Kiddo Jazz has a great article here on walking you through mounting blob and data lake storage to the Databricks cluster. So it actually walks you through, obviously using the key traditional system for mounting the blob storage, but mounting the data lake storage using an app service registration. So using that as the endpoint you hit to mount the actual data lake storage into the Databricks cluster. The article walks through it step by step, including what you need to provision in a way that the reason I like this article is when I walk through it, I'm like, oh, I could totally use this blog article to completely write a Python script, PowerShell script, Azure CLI, whatever, to do and actually dictate out this entire steps of a pipeline to deploy this and have the actual data lake Gen 2 mounted as a drive in Databricks. So I absolutely love this article. And even to dovetail with yours, Andres, you could use this to deploy a new Databricks, linking it to an existing data lake, and then connect it using your article to connect it to an existing Unity catalog.
Did we just become best friends?
Mic drop. I think so. I think that's what I felt in my heart. So I hope you felt it too. You complete me.
I witnessed it. Are both your moms named Martha?
No.
No. Okay. Good. But you're still building bunk beds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, excellent. I'm glad we've settled that.
Or in the to do my best impression, which will still be terrible, of Step Brothers. Yep. Sorry, that's all I got.
I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty good. I liked it.
I think it was a C, but I mean that's how I got through English class in middle school.
No when to quit. Josh, take the compliment and just cruise on out, buddy. It was solid. It was solid. You don't have to do anything more, buddy.
He's defending himself.
There we go. All right, Neeraj, you're up next. You've got Jen Stirrup, New Year's resolutions for your business intelligence, data science, and artificial intelligence teams.
So AI, I think is going to be big this year, with a lot of things happening on the AI side. I mean, every company is going after AI. So New Year resolution, as we're going from last 2 weeks, what you want to adopt as a learning goal, something on the AI side, like adopting ML ops, AI ops, data ops, whatever the operations are there. You can use them up, and that is definitely going to help you out going to your artificial intelligence and BI tools, right? I mean, that's what people are looking at as end of it. A lot of adopt the robust data engineering practices for business intelligence is another topic that she's discussing up here, which is really great to learn about it. Data sciences, I mean, that's something that you definitely want to look at it, and then continuously transforming the data, right? Investing in your own data and then doing the artificial intelligence on top of it is that definitely good to go.
Very nice. Very nice.
Mhm.
Excellent. So I was going to say that's going to take me over to once again. I'm going to focus on what the subject was. Well, at least my personal subject, right? The New Year's learning. I'm going to stay in the DevOps area, but I'm going to talk about Azure SQL external REST endpoint integration in the public preview. We had Davide Marion. I interviewed him at Live 360. We posted that interview over the break. And one of the things we specifically talked about was this kind of diagram right here and the capability using the REST endpoint to be able to make native calls from Azure SQL database to API engines also sitting within Azure to be able to trigger other events. To me, this is huge because there's been a big move for a long time to have event-based cloud processing, streaming data. Well, now we have the capability to call events directly from the database that we could have triggered by other things within that database. So this allows our databases to become very event oriented when we think about things from a developer point of view. This is absolutely fantastic. It's really easy to do. We just need to invoke the SP invoke external REST endpoint. Davide has a wonderful example of this where he's reaching out to an Azure function to be able to make a triggered response. And as I see it, I think that because we have so many developers adopting Azure SQL Database and using Azure SQL Database, I think this is something that we're going to see a lot of use from, the capability to be able to have that event-based processing within the database engine.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I mean, just looking at the bottom left of his illustration, incorporating cognitive services in to a database without having to go through a whole data factory or SSIS extraction. No, you just do the call. I'm
Absolutely. All right. So next up, I've got Andreas. Let's see. It is reasons and peculiarities of choosing MQTT protocol for your IoT devices.
Oh, I love this article. Thank you to Andrei Solovev for this. For those of you, getting into IoT, this is a must read. One of the big questions you'll constantly get asked is, do I use the MQTT protocol? Do I use MQP? Oh man, I'm always drawing a blank on that. Say that 5 times fast. I bet you can. Whether you AMQP, whether you should use HTTP. This article, what it does is it really clarifies a lot of those concepts that you should have when choosing the right protocol. Whether do you need guaranteed service for the message? That might be one factor that says, okay, I need guaranteed service. That might lead you into using MQP. It might be the weight of the library that might affect you. And you'll be like, wow, my device has such a small memory footprint. I need a small library that can go on there. That would push me into either MQP or MQTT because they're both really light libraries. The quality of service I already mentioned. And then finally, the throughput. Which one is going to give me more throughput and lower latency benchmarks overall? If for IoT, this is a must-read article. It'll really clarify the concepts. The question asked, do I pick MQTT or do I pick AMQP?
I still can't say it 5 times fast.
Yeah, you can't say five times fast. So.
Excellent article, Andreas.
Josh is in a blank. He's like, I'm not going to even try.
Yeah, exactly what I was saying in my head. I'm like, not even going to try. Nope.
That's bravo. I appreciate a man who knows his limits. But speaking about maybe predicting yourself outside of your limits, Josh, you've got our final entry for the week. You've got data science trends to look forward in 2023. I don't know if that's missing a two, look forward to, but it's data science trends to look forward in 2023.
Yeah, I think it was missing a two. That was my thought as well when I saw it. But the article and the 5 things that it's really focused on looking at, it sees this, that Vlad sees as an upcoming, trends to watch or things to watch in that space. Augmented analytics, definitely see that as something moving up. Data as a service. And I think all 4 of us can agree that, data as a service, basically cloud-based software tools used in the cloud to work with data, stored data, transform data, visualize data. I think we all can agree that is something that's moving up and becoming more prevalent in the market, and looking for in-memory computing, AI as a service, and no-code AI tools. Definitely agree with no code as a whole, as a trend in the technology space is constantly moving up. So seeing no code AI in there, I was like, well, yeah, because it's going to branch its way out. It's in no code apps, no code databases, no code visualizations. It's working its way through.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I remember probably one of the first times I used a no coding option was back in, I think it was 2017, when we started our Twitter data experiments with Spider-Man Homecoming, when we were grabbing the sentiment analysis and we were measuring that and then looking at how indicative that was of box office performance in the future. And that was a really fun ride to go through all of that. But I recall when I set up the Logic app, it took me, I think, 30, 40 minutes to be able to do it. It was deceptive how simple it was to be able to pull that in, stream it, have the sentiment detected by cognitive services, put that in an Azure SQL database so I can immediately report on that in Power BI. And then I got cocky, right? And I went, I want to download all this data. I want to be able to go back and get movies that I didn't think to set a Logic app for. And it took me 5-6 months. I mean, the number of times I called Josh, and I think, Josh, let's play real quick. I think this is the example. Josh, I got it. I figured it out. I know how to do it. I'm going to use this Python library. And then like a day later, it was like, son of a...
Okay, so that Python library didn't work.
Yeah.
Just this. So I found this one though, and I'm going to try this one. And then a day later, all right,
4 months.
So that didn't work.
Nope. Yeah. I found this new open source project. Nope. Didn't work. I mean, literally 4 months to figure out what I did in 40 minutes. And it was a really good process. But the other thing is I have to constantly take that open source project and I have to change the code within it to be able to keep it up to date, to be able to maintain it, to be able to keep it working. And it is painful. I completely understand why people would go with a no code, low code option. I definitely think that's going to be big.
Yeah. So tools like, and to put it into what we're used to, Azure ML's visual AI in the Azure ML services library, great example of that. In other spaces outside of AI, Power Apps, Power BI, again, those no code, low code, they're emerging kind of everywhere. Seeing them become a more prevalent part of the marketplace, not shocking.
Well, gentlemen, let's see. I think we're off to the reminders. One of the things that we'll want to say is, remember everybody, on Tuesday, we will be live and we will have our hosting show. We will have a special guest. No previews on that. But at the hosting show, all the links that you saw today on the show are in the comments over at YouTube. I will have a blog out. I'm going to start doing that again. I will have a blog out on Monday that also has the link. And then Tales from the Field is going to be at SQLBits 2023. I've got 2 presentations that I will be doing over at SQLBits in Wales. It is also, if you can't make it over to Wales, completely understand, it is a free hybrid event. You don't have to miss out on me or any of your favorite people from the product groups. Bob Ward's going to be there. Buck Woody's going to be there. Patrick LeBlanc, Adam Saxton. I mean, the host of people who are there is just absolutely amazing. Patrick LeBlanc and I are doing a session together. The greatest Azure service you've never heard of. It's absolutely amazing. Some of the best stuff. Is there anything else that y'all can think of? Any other reminders that we've got?
Not that I can think of, other than I need to remind a software provider of ours that their volume isn't working properly and cutting out people's voices.
You had one job.
No, I did my job, and all of a sudden it started cutting out, and I'm like, never mind.
You know, I'm curious to see how it comes through on the live stream because I didn't hear that at all. I think only you got it on the audio.
Did I only get it? Did you guys hear it?
I get it. I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it too?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I'm the
It's
donkey
not my
over
fault
here.
this
chatting.
time. It's
All right,
not
remember
my
to-
fault. I remembered.
You need to
I
take-
remembered.
Minus
you go.
points, negative
Well,
points.
I was going to say, remember to go check out SQLBits.com then. I don't know if it cut my audio, but 2 presentations, me and Patrick LeBlanc, the greatest
got
Azure
that.
service you've never
Yeah,
heard
we
of.
got that. Yeah, we
It
got
got that.
text-
It just cut out like it a couple of times early on. You're good.
Okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, have a wonderful weekend. Everybody out there, take care. Be good to one another. And we will see you soon. Thank you all so much. Goodbye, everybody.
Take care.
Other times I'm barely breathing though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot.